then, I think that at some point you got to get out of the cake baking business. I mean, you're going to have to serve customers in any business. You're going to have to serve.
And that is a choice. That is a choice that they may have to make eventually.
I get what you're saying, because it's a very small, minute, because it's got to be this way, and marriage is for a man and a woman. Well, the laws have passed, and hey, you want to,
But they see marriage as existing in a spiritual sense rather than a legal sense, and that's where a lot of I think their unwillingness to participate in this is. Up until this point in history, the legal meaning of marriage and the spiritual meaning of marriage have been the same. Then, in the last 15 years, the legal meaning of marriage changed, and for many of these people, the spiritual meaning of marriage didn't. And they're using the same word. And because it's the same word and a lot of times the same ceremony, they don't want to participate in something that it doesn't matter if you disagree with them. They are being forced to some degree to participate in something that has changed against their will.
That is ridiculous. Like let's say, for instance, I love rice pudding.
Yes.
Rice pudding, especially with the golden raisins, awesome. Now, if I were watching the History Channel tomorrow and saw a documentary and they said, you know what Hitler loved almost more than killing Jews, gypsies, and homosexuals? Rice pudding, especially with the golden raisins. That's like to say that, gay marriage is ruining traditional marriage for me and my upstanding
friends.
No,
it's not ruining it for them. It's not ruining it for them. It's
Hitler liking rice
something
pudding.
that they don't believe.
You're saying it's asking them to participate in something that they don't believe in.
Right.
Yes, I understand that.
Yeah, but you know what? And it's so crazy because everybody knows that there's the gay choir director.
Yeah.
Okay? He's standing there doing the music. We don't like gays.
Waving his baton
he's doing
at the
his baton,
kids.
but hey, everybody knows he's gay. But just you're trying to say, hey, here's religion, and we don't. Shut up.
It's not. Hold on. Now you're getting into something. This is a completely different issue. But
I'm just saying
it's not that they don't like gays.
I didn't say they didn't like gays, but I'm saying you're saying we don't want to participate in something, but it's like you're stating that this cannot be because I don't believe in it, but it's all around you.
Sin is all around us.
Well, whatever they want to
call it. Every person in the church, the people who believe that gay behavior or gay marriage is sinful, they believe that many things are sinful. Everyone in a church is a sinner. They've all do things and continue to do things that are sinful. They're not necessarily celebrating those sins or affirming those sins. The people who don't believe in gay marriage, it's not that they hate gay people or they want to oppress gay people. It's that they don't want to participate in what they see as celebrating something with which they disagree.
But even if they don't want to oppress them by their actions, it's like, it's not what I'm setting out to do, but...
I disagree and again, my personal view on this is more nuanced than I'm trying to defend the idea that some people...
Sure, yeah,
but hold on.
I think there's a fine line between the business being allowed to refuse service, and and discrimination. It's kind of the same reason why we have hate crime laws.
Yes.
Where to use the term, fortunately you don't hear it that much anymore, but there were a bunch of quote unquote fag bashings going on in West Hollywood a few years ago. Mm-hmm. And like assault, that's already a crime.
Yes.
But doing it because someone's gay or, doing it because someone's black or Jewish. Strangely to move into the next topic, strangely not because she's a woman, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But I think there is a fine line between discrimination and refusing service for certain reasons, and I think, especially if you're coming
a fine line, but I think
especially if you're coming from a religion, where the main guy had a message of love your neighbor.
Yeah,
I think there's a certain level of hypocrisy to not doing that.
But
love your neighbor. We could go on.
But I was just going to say it's the misinterpretation of the Bible which gets people in trouble, because those that are stating this is what the Bible says, the very man that stood for what he says, if you heard him, he wouldn't give a crap about who's gay and who's black and
well,
whatever.
I think, you know, we could get into so many issues here, talking about how the whole prosperity Christianity, their logo instead of a cross should be a camel going through the eye of a needle.
Love your neighbor does not simply justify affirming and celebrating everything.
No, I understand that, but celebrating it, you're not getting an invitation. You're making a cake, and then you stay home on the day of the wedding or do whatever the fuck else you have to do.
Yep.
But yeah,
do your job. Shut up and do your job. That's all it is. Shut up and do your job. Is your job baking and selling cakes to people? Is this person asking you to buy a cake from you?
But if someone wanted to do the right
job, well, and then we get into the issue of the fine line between shut up and do your job and just following orders. So it's there are many fine lines. It looks like pickup sticks. But let's move on. Another big issue in the news this week. Brock Turner, former Stanford swimmer, current and all-time rapist.
Rapist for life.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which a lot of people were very upset that, he was being referred to in the headlines as ex-swimmer and not rapist. So I want to make sure,
yes.
Rapist gets in there, but also, wait, which rapist, Brock? Oh, the swimmer. So
that rapist. As
an identifying thing. What the fuck? That's, if you're not familiar, welcome from the rock under which you've been living. Guy who was on the swim team at Stanford raped an unconscious girl after a party, and basically no remorse. Judge sentenced him to 6 months. He served 3 because of overcrowding in jails and because, I guess he was a well-behaved prisoner.
Don't you think it's extraordinary, though, that after all of the hue and cry 3 months ago over this case that they would let him go early? Like, there's something about that doesn't add up to me.
It's horrible. I think he should have gotten a stronger sentence to begin with.
Well, they're only going to give him.
That's kind of the bigger issue is that this is raising is that there are so many things that went wrong in terms of trying and sentencing this guy, but the fact of the matter
the main one being the judge,
right? Yeah. But the fact of the matter is everything about it was completely legal and within the bounds of law.
Well,
so
they gave him,
the problem
was the fact that they were going to give him 6 years.
Yeah.
He should have gotten 14 because of they had witnesses who saw him. When they caught him, he was still screwing her. She's out. Yeah. He's on top of her.
They pulled him off.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, they got this guy dead to right. And then, that also slaps, you look at our justice system. That's what you need to ask. What is wrong with our justice system?
Everything was, you have the witnesses, you have the guys pulled off, you have the rape kit in which
if you just pulled it off,
there were... the rape kit in which there were like pine needles and gravel in this woman's vagina.
Yes.
Like it was not even. It was a violent and terrible, terrible rape.
Right, and then the fact that here we have, and this is, and they need to check their judges because they just put 2 judges in jail, or 1 I think for Philly who was getting money for giving extra time.
Kids in the
that guy.
Prisons,
I mean that guy. So here we have this. He's an alum, and he was a former athlete, just like this guy, and he went to Stanford and everything. It's just it keeps that racial narrative going.
Racial how?
Wait,
it keeps because people of color are going to look at this. Oh, look at that, another white boy getting off. Here we go.
Cosby.
I mean, hey, and Cosby, they're going after him, man. But
hold on.
But wait a minute. I was going to say,
I don't buy the racial narrative necessarily.
Because you're not looking at it from black folks.
No,
you're not looking from those guys. So if you look at it from, hey man, there was a black dude who a woman accused him of raping, which he never did rape her. She lied. He got 5 years in prison.
And that's awful.
Okay, she ruined his career.
And that's unjust.
Right.
But flip side,
you can cherry pick.
Tymon, flip side, who's the guy that directed Birth of a Nation?
That's what I was going to bring up next.
Okay.
I'm blanking on his name.
Not Birth of
a Nation. It's called Birth of a Nation.
It's not the original one.
Okay, Nate Parker.
New...
Oh, okay.
It's called Birth of a Nation, but it's you're talking about Nate Parker.
Yeah.
Okay, Nate.
Is this the guy that directed the new Roots also?
No. This is the guy who's done Birth of a Nation. His name Nate Parker.
Okay.
New slave movie. Did big at the festivals.
Yeah.
It's,
Okay.
So Nate did, but Nate was he didn't get convicted, but he actually went to court.
Yeah.
Okay. This guy, and his thing, and they're bringing this up years ago that he happened. And even Gabrielle Union's coming out stating, "Hey, you know what? But what you did was wrong." And he said, "Well, look, I didn't do anything." And she really spoke out against it. Because she had to deal with that whole rape issue. I don't know if it was someone in her family or whatever. Yeah. But I'm not trying to. I'm just saying, it will open up the door to that. Will it? Are they doing it now? I'm just saying it opens that up. Because I've had the conversation already. And if you listen to certain guys in the room, if you talk to Latinos or talk to, oh, man, look at another white boy getting off. Man, he know he should have went to jail. When a brother going to get off for something like that? That ain't going to happen like that,
Wait, didn't Nate Parker get off?
Yeah, but Nate Parker.
I think that was immaterial to the investigation.
I hate to bang my own drum here, but I don't know how this is turning into a conversation about how the black man has been wronged by this guy getting out of jail. Let's talk about the woman, the victim of this rape, and the injustice that's there. I mean, she was the victim of this crime, and she gets to live with that for the rest of her fucking life. And we can talk about the relative, was one rape worse than another or whatever, but talk about looking at an issue through a lens. There is any woman, just about any woman will have some experience with rape, either directly or through somebody else.
I didn't mean it to try and do that.
I'm not trying to shoot you down here or anything, but I'm just somehow the conversation is turning into one about race in the case where this is really a conversation about a guy who did committed a gross criminal act against a young woman who doesn't get out of that jail in 3 months.
Right, and that's what I was stating. That's what I was stating in the beginning. That here this guy is. They had to pull him off of her. Okay, and then the prosecutors were only talking about giving this dude 6 years. He should have gotten. With all the witnesses, to everything, on what this girl has traumatically, and the fact is, I don't want to hear about this. Well, she was drunk, she was out. I don't give a shit. What you should have done is tried to help her, maybe give a call or an Uber and get her home. Don't just, So I don't know how the guy can live with himself, and I hope that when he gets to Ohio, that they're waiting to protest his ass.
They are. Yeah. They're on his lawn,
and they're going to run him out. Hopefully. She'll get a lot of help, psychological. She's going to need it. She's going to need a lot of support to get through that. I have sisters that have went through that, have been raped, so I know you need the therapy to deal with that.
Well, and not to sound like I'm turning the issue, but because this is always part of the issue. Where as Tymon was saying, it doesn't matter that she was drunk in any rape case. Doesn't matter what she's wearing. Yada yada. So rather than looking at the victim, you look at the criminal, the rapist, and not to conflate the issues, but made the jokes about Ryan Lochte earlier, and you had the incident at the Brazil Olympics with the 3 guys from the swim team, the U.S. swim team. You get this guy who's a swimmer, and I know not all swimmers. But is there something? And if you look at the percentages of Olympic athletes who committed crimes and Olympic athletes who didn't, the criminals are definitely in the minority.
Yeah.
But is there something that's part of the culture?
Well, I'm glad you brought up the C word because, I think what we're talking about is the culture. We're talking about the culture. And,
but is it that in both of these cases, no.
It does not, but it is. But I think American athleticism is so grounded in the rape culture, and that's what we're talking about. I mean, this sort of sense of entitlement, which is a big part of that. Ryan Lochte or Brock Turner, entitled to do whatever the fuck they feel like doing in the moment, and they will be protected because they're seen as American heroes, because they are, athletes. They're gifted athletes. And it's FUBAR. I mean, it's ridiculous. What are we doing here? What are we doing? What are we saying? What was that judge saying? Why is this guy out? What is the message that we're sending to young women?